Hey, what's going on, dreamers? Welcome to the Christopher Mark Show. So, this is our third episode. And so today we're going to talk about understanding your purpose. So, your purpose is, it can be a little tricky, right? Your purpose can be tricky because, you might be like, man, um, I always dreamt of working at Foot Locker. And, my brother, that's one of his fantasies. He was always dreaming of working at Foot Locker. And so, he always wanted to work at Foot Locker and he wanted to be the manager and that was something I never understood, but it was always a dream of his, right? I think for me it was always like I always wanted to make video games, right? I want to make video games. To I went to, this one of those open houses at college and I checked out actual walked in on a class to see how it would go. And then I realized it was really hard. And I realized I was like, nope, this ain't for me. So once I kind of you know understood that and accepted that, I had to find another way to do something else. And so that's when I kind of got into writing and I got into putting on productions and stuff like that. And so that was one of the main things for me was just really like creating that and figuring out looking at what I wanted to do, but really finding another way to do it in a more unique way, in a way that worked better for me, right? And this is why I said in the last episode, you're understanding who you are and what you'll never be, right? Because once you accept those things, you can actually makes things a lot easier for you, and it teaches you a lot about understanding yourself and your limits. So that's a very important thing. Um, but yeah, so back to understanding like your purpose. Your purpose is, like I said, it can be tricky. It can be, hard to identify. But I'm gonna help you as much as I can in this episode. So here we go. So your purpose is based around who you are, right? Who you are, obviously, right? Who you are and what you love and what makes you happy, but also what challenges you, what forces you to maybe read more, wake up early, inspires you to work out, inspires you to like, want to be the best version of yourself, right? That is the key to understanding your purpose, right? Your purpose is, it helps you to build upon what is really already inside of you, right? And so the main thing is really that I kind of find what I usually tell my clients is, you know, understanding your purpose is based around making a list of all the things you love to do, right? You have to make a list of all the things you love to do, all the things that, you find is like, oh, well, that's not, that don't work or this, yeah, that won't go together. But it will. It will. Don't worry. There's always a loophole. There's always a way. There's always a possibility of making things happen. So you make your list, and then once you make your list, you actually, and I feel like Santa Claus on this one. You check it twice. But anyway, you make your list, and then from your list, then you figure out how to combine everything, right? So I want you to imagine that you were doing what you love full time, all of those things. And you brought all those things together and you offered it to someone, right? And you said, hey, this is all the things that I'm able to do. So it can be like, hey, you love making cookies, you love fashion, you love dancing, you love poetry, right? So now you have all these things. So people will be like, okay, well, most people will tell you, well, you have to choose one thing you're going to focus on, right? So when you offer a lot, the one thing that you have to look at is people understanding the dynamics of who you are as a person. The only way they're going to understand that is if they can see all of these things you do, right? Now, how do you organize those things? How do you like create it where people can like understand it? Well, it has to be based around you, right? If things aren't based around you as a person, if they aren't based around like, you know, hearing your story and connecting with you, if they're not based around you, they won't be able to understand how you're able to do all these things or why you love all these things. And so what happens is that now you're very you just seem like you're all over the place if you don't center things around you or around your story or what inspires you or what motivates you, right? Now here's the next part to understanding your purpose. What is hard for you? And I mean hard. I'm talking like cell block D hard, just hard, right? What is going to be hard for you? If it's not hard, that's not your purpose. And I mean by hard in a sense that not in a sense of like, oh, you're putting yourself in hard situations, meaning that you know that you have to dig deep within your core, right? And actually really put in the effort to grow. And so if you don't allow yourself to dig deep and things to force you to grow, then you're gonna always be frustrated. You're gonna always be mad. You're gonna always be like, man, you know what? I was thinking about starting a business, but I'm good. I'm gonna just go ahead and go back to work. Know what I mean? Do some overtime, kill it. And just you know what I mean, just I'll be all right. And that part of that mentality is why you have a lot of people here today where they rather just work for somebody than to pursue their dream because they feel like it's a foreign concept. They feel like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Oh, and then most people just always think, okay, well, all right, cool. All I gotta do is just set up my business, set up my LLC, and then my business. So I'll, set up a website, you know, market on social media, hire a little team to like push everything. I'll make some money, and that's it. That's not it. Because the truth is that you can be successful, but none of that matters. The money can come, right? But the real issue here is why you see rich people who are successful and they are miserable. You look at them and you like, man, I would something about you just make me not want your life. I know you a billionaire, but I would never want your life. And so when you see people and you see like, man, you know what? I actually need to work on some other things. You need to work on your mindset. You need to work on yourself. You need to work on your spirituality and whatever that is for you. You know, you have to find your peace, right? Because it's like without finding your peace, you can't offer anything good to anyone, right? And the truth is, it's like, I always say this to people we were created to create, right? So when you create something, you have to keep in mind that what you're creating is not just for you, it's for everyone else. So, a lot of times you might be working at a job right now and you might not like it. You might be like, I'm done with this. I don't want to work here. Because I can tell you from experience, I worked at a place for years. Right? I worked at Penn for years. And, despite, it was a good job. I knew, socially it was kind of like okay well it gave people to give me some acknowledgement. Oh, you work at Penn, that's great, that's amazing, you got a great job, and it was cool, but I wasn't happy. I was miserable. Only thing I loved about it was really being able to help other people, talk to people, actually help people who were, near death or going through some type of transition in their life, and being in a space where they're, vulnerable at a hospital, it allows you to really see like what life is all about, because and what really matters. We think that the clothes we wear, the designers we wear, all of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the day is your peace. How to find it, how to build it, how to protect it, and how to allow and how to give it, and how much of it to give, right? Because you can give too much of yourself to someone else. So, understanding your purpose is really all of those things and that goes into it. So it's not just about, okay, well, all right, I'm gonna write this down, I'm gonna mark it, I'm gonna get me, my LLC, I'm gonna get this stuff that set up, and then that's it. That part, and I always tell people this, like if I'm working with taking on a client, for example, I would never focus on your business first. So if you come to me, don't come to me being like, yo, all right, I want you to do just focus on my business. I don't want to work on myself. Who you are is the business. Because without understanding yourself at the core of your emotions and what you've been through and those hurdles, you are going to be weak once you start a business and people are responding to you. You're getting more vulnerable. You're like, you might be getting responses from people where they're mad at you all the time and you're yelling at you, and now you're like, you might not have that core strength, so now you're more vulnerable, so you're crying all over the place, right? That can happen. But if you work on the three main things, right? You work on yourself, you work on your relationships, because your relationships affect how far you're going to go in life. They really do. Like they determine whether you're in a personal, one-on-one intimate relationship, or whether you're dealing with your family and your friends. You have to know where to put people. You have to know how much time to spend with them. You have to know who's good for you and who's not. And everybody gonna say they're good for you, but here's the thing. Here's the thing you gotta understand. Everybody's not good for you. Or everybody's not good for you based on where you're trying to go in your life. So there's a lot that goes into creating your purpose. Creating your purpose is not just about making money. It's about understanding who you are, understanding what you'll never be, but also understanding that, you know, you're what's gonna challenge you, what's gonna be hard for you, what's gonna make you be like, all right, I gotta get up and get at the gym at like 6 in the morning. What's gonna make you do that? Cause everything ain't gonna make you do that. Some stuff would be like, man, I ain't getting up at no 6 in the morning. Man, I'm going to sleep. But the truth is that if you're on your purpose and you find out what you love to do, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, you will feel so fulfilled because you are leading your life. You're not being told what to do. You're not being belittled. You're not in situations that you don't personally want to be in. You're not accepting things because of circumstances, right? You're actually creating the situation that you want to live in. And that's the importance of your purpose. Like I said before, if you guys ever want to book a session with me, I'll leave a link up here. You know how to do so and go about it. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and thank you for supporting us on this podcast. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, peace.